When you buy an action camera for your drones, they normally don't have battery if you're talking about like a Naked GoPro or a Runcam Thumb Pro, for example. So what a lot of people do is that they have the cable that goes to the flight controller and feeds power to the units. In the case of GEPRC, for example, most of their drones come with this cable, the power cable, already soldered and everything ready. So you can use the Naked GoPro version that GEPRC sells with that cable. If you look at the cable, the connector is a little bit special, or at least different than, for example, when you look at the Runcam Pro. And here is the thing, neither of these cameras has a battery internal, which means that if I want to do a test or something, I need to find another way to power them. And also, if you have many drones, I don't know, Runcam is thinking that you're gonna solder a cable like this one to each one of your drones. GEPRC seems to have kind of like the same idea. What I have for you today is that we're gonna do a cable that you can move from one drone to the other, because one side is gonna be connecting to the balance cable of the battery, and the other side is going to connect to the camera. So what you need to do is to have the balance connector. You need to have a couple of cables to connect the back to that balance connector. You need to have a back, and here is important. You need to know, you need to understand how many volts your camera can take. In the case of the Runcam Pro, it can take 5 volts. So you need a back that takes whatever you have on the battery to 5 volts. And then you need to have the connector that is going to work for that camera. So again, if I will be doing the GEPRC camera, I will be using the cable that goes with that one. In the case of this one, I'm going to be using a 4-pin connector, even though I'm just going to attach the power and ground. But so it fits better and you find it like nice to connect to the camera. Let's see how we can do this cable very simple and very easy. This is the back, and this is going to be like the start of the movie. If you see this specific back made by Matec, it's 5 or 9 volts, and you have to choose which voltage you're gonna give by having these pads open or closed, depending on what you want. Closed will give you 9 volts, open will give you 5 volts. So let's start soldering the cable. This is the cable that connects to the camera. Again, you have to choose this cable depending on the camera that you're going to connect. And we are just going to connect the red and black in this case, because the yellow one is used if you want to do control it with a radio, for example, and you do some configurations to have a switch in your radio to turn on and off the camera. But I normally don't like to do it, so I'm just gonna use the red and the black. For me, the easiest way to do this is by tinning the 4 connectors here, the 4 pads on the back, tinning the cables and just connecting the cables to the back. Very simple task. Then the camera cables are going to the out. So in this case, 5 volts out, it's gonna be my red cable. And the next ground is gonna be my black cable. I'm gonna put it this way so I have a bit more of support later when I add the shrink wrap. And now we add the cables for the power balance, the balance connector, sorry. Now I have my back with the cable for the camera on one side and the balance for the other side. What I want to do here is I'm going to shrink wrap this one here after I have done some tests, and I'm going to add the shrink tubes here, so when I have the balance connector here I can use it. So with the balance connector you have to think about one thing. You don't want all these exposed pins here, so you either have to cut them or remove them. You can pull them out and remove them. I'm gonna cut them just to be faster. And you want to use the two furthest from the connector so you get the full voltage from the battery, and you are not trying to discharge one cell more than the other ones. You take it from the whole battery. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is which one is positive and which one is negative. Okay, basically the cable is done. You have here connected the camera cable, balance cable. Now I'm gonna shrink wrap it and test it. We're gonna do some testing now. First, that nothing is in short circuit. Okay. And then we're going to connect it to the battery, and we're going to see if we have the voltage that we want, that is 5 volts on the out. 496, that's fine. So now basically our cable is done. I'm just going to do some wrapping in plastic so it's more elegant and ready. Okay, the last thing then is to test it with the camera. Oh, and something that is very important that I forgot to mention. Be very careful with the cable order, because these small cables not always come in the same order that the camera has. So you have to make sure that you have red and black and not black and red. There. Now we have a cable for Thumb Pro. Thank you for watching. See you soon.